With Fallout 3 being the immediate sequel to the classic titles, Bethesda naturally had references to the original games. Some are obvious, such as the Overseer kicking out the protagonist from their vault.
There. I'm sorry. You're a hero, and you have to leave.
I'm sorry. You're a hero, and you have to leave.
But I feel there are some less obvious ones. Here are 5 possible Fallout 3 homages to the classic titles. While everything on this list is unconfirmed, we'll start it with something I'm fairly confident in, Megaton being a possible homage to Junktown. Like Junktown, Megaton is put together with a lot of scrap metals, particularly the walls. The biggest difference between the two is the source materials for the junk structures, as well as Megaton's defining feature being the bomb. Junktown has a series of fairly random assortments, including metal barrels and red cars. Almost like, well, a junkyard. Megaton, however, had most of its materials gathered from airplane debris.
There was an air station a couple of miles from here. It had been stripped of everything except the planes. My daddy got a bunch of people together to go out there, break apart the machines, and drag back what we could use. It took him a couple of months. You can't even tell where the air station was anymore.
There's more to it than just similar materials used to make a common aesthetic. Both Junktown and Megaton have mayors with an extra occupation.
Well, that's a damn fine coincidence.
Megaton's Lucas Sims is both mayor and sheriff, while Junktown's Killian Darkwater is mayor and a store owner. Though it should be noted that Darkwater takes a very headed approach to law enforcement, believing in frontier justice. And while he isn't officially given the sheriff title, at least one NPC sees him as such. Sherry has this line: "You bet, nobody messes with us." Well, except for Killian, but he's cool and all. He's like the sheriff man. We do whatever we want. Both Mayor Sims and Mayor Darkwater have heated rivalries in their cities with rather slimy figures. Sims has a rivalry with bar owner Colin Moriarty.
Listen carefully. I don't know what Sheriff Sims told you, but this is my town. Sims, he's a facade. An illusion of order I allow to exist. I was slinging drinks and killing raiders here in Megaton when the good sheriff was just an idiot kid with cowboy fantasies.
And Darkwater has a rivalry with casino owner Gizmo.
All right, here's the deal. Junktown, it ain't what it used to be. The only reason it's still here is because of my gambling establishment. Even so, Killian's been breathing down my neck, and I'm starting to take it personal. And that's where you come in, Slick.
Both Moriarty and Gizmo are in a bit of a power struggle for control of their towns against their mayors. The biggest difference is Moriarty technically hasn't done anything illegal that can allow Sims to enact justice, while the Vault Dweller could get Gizmo to confess to hiring assassins to take out Darkwater, resulting in a battle.
That's the first time I've been happy to hear his voice.
Fallout 3 and Fallout 2 share something in common. Both feature a large ship with people living in it. In the case of Fallout 2, this is the PMV Valdez, a large Poseidon energy oil tanker. In the case of Fallout 3, this is a large decaying aircraft carrier. But the biggest difference is that the oil tanker is actually functional at the time of Fallout 2. Meanwhile, the aircraft carrier is ripped apart and is certainly not going anywhere without extensive repairs. Perhaps a bit more on the obvious side, but the Underworld shares quite a bit with Necropolis, and to a lesser extent Gecko. They're gold-dominated settlements, and in the case of Underworld and Necropolis, both share a name that refer to death in some form. Necropolis literally meaning City of the Dead, and is also the name of a large graveyard, while Underworld is a common name for the afterlife. The biggest difference is Fallout 1's Necropolis is under control of a super mutant army by the start of the game. There's a band of ghouls living underground, away from the conflict. Them being underground is something shared with Underworld ghouls. But in many respects, Underworld feels more like a settlement due to them not being under mutant control.
You're in Underworld, Smooth Skin. It's the only safe place for we ghouls in D.C. We're here out of sight and out of mind. The mutants leave us alone, and the slavers usually don't come this far into the city, so it's not bad. Really, the Brotherhood of Steel is the only thing we have to worry about. So long as we don't leave Underworld, that is.
So it perhaps shares that specific aspect with Fallout 2's Gecko. This one may be a little bit of a stretch, but I feel that Old Olney is a reference to Fallout 1's Boneyard. More specifically, the Boneyard's Warehouse. The warehouse is the first actual full-on nest for the Deathclaw. And in the classic titles, bar the Vol 13 Deathclaws, which is a very special case, the warehouse is the only time we see Deathclaws indoors. Every other time, they're in a cave or out in the desert. But the fact that Olney features death claws just outside of some buildings is remarkable for that reason. In addition, the nest is in an underground sewer system. Notably, the Deathclaw mother in Fallout 1 goes into an underground warehouse basement to lay her nest. Again, it's a possible stretch, but I feel there's something there. The Children of Atom are a possible homage to the Children of Cathedral. Not only do they both have fairly similar names, but both have divine reverence for atomic weaponry, and believe the nuclear war was an act of holiness. The Children of the Cathedral's teachings are mostly through dialogue readings, but they do talk quite a lot about the Holy Flame.
There is no one greater than the Holy Flame, and we are his servants.
You could ask Thorndyke, a healer of the Children of the Cathedral, this question. Worship? The bomb? What's so great about a bomb? His response is, the Holy Flame is a metaphor for the death of the old world and the beginning of the new. It is the power of life and death. What is more worthy of worship than that? Meanwhile, the Children of Atom worship atomic weaponry a bit more literally by actively worshiping an unexploded bomb, both of which really are references to the film Beneath the Planet of Apes, in which a cult worships an intact nuclear intercontinental ballistic missile. However, Fallout 3's Children of Atom takes the reference a bit more on the nose. The differences come down to the worship beliefs. The Children of Atom personified nuclear weapon as a single entity, Atom himself, and the destruction of Atom's nuclear weapons creates new universes.
Each of us shall give birth to 1 billion stars, formed from the mass of our wretched and filthy bodies.
Meanwhile, the Children of Cathedral's Holy Flame is less grandiose. They don't believe in new universes, but they do believe in cleansing and rebirth.
The holiest of holies. He is the guiding light we follow. He shall cleanse those unfaithful when the nexus of rebirth is reached.
The Master is the second Holy Flame, as he intends to unite all corrupt people by changing them into supermutants. A different form of cleansing that doesn't wipe the slate clean, but cleans the very core of humanity. And there we have it, 5 possible homages to the classic titles in Fallout 3. Now, again, these are not confirmed and it's conjecture on my part, but as I replay 3, I did notice similarities that I felt like sharing.